coming out from Cloud9's top laner already, but hey, we've got the bans finished. It's Jace, Maokai, Elise, Vi, Annie, and Lissandra all banned out.
And I like what Cloud9 are doing because they're dropping that Jarvan ban, the respect ban towards River. He can play so many other jungle champions, but the Lissandra has been a really big tool for Gori. That was one of the big setup champions for them. They jump on the Wukong immediately. River did have a hard carry Wukong game here, but there's still options for Blaber. Sejuani still available if they want another frontline jungler.
And with that Wukong locked in for River, you're feeling even better about the Lissandra ban. Remember that yesterday, one of those pop-off Wukong games was also right next to the Lissandra, backing it up, out fighting, out skirmishing in a lot of these smaller fights. But C9 will lock in the big tank for themselves in the jungle with Sejuani, and this time it's Berserker piloting the Zeri.
They're going to be playing that for himself here. Stixxay had a really strong early game on the Zeri last time around, but wasn't able to really slam it home. So it'll be interesting to see what Stixxay wants to play into it. We've been seeing a lot of Xayah these days throughout playoffs, but a lot of options are available for them. Will they just go straight Xayah Rakan here, or are they going to be happy to just allow support to fall through? Looks like it is going to be the Xayah Rakan lock.
All right, do Cloud9 want to grab their support here? Something like the Lulu is the most common. There are options too. I feel like LeBlanc has not shown up a lot in these series, but should be rising in value, especially with the Lissandra ban here. It's one of EMENES' best champions, and really hasn't been flexed too much in LCS.
I also think another option for Cloud9 would be Renata as far as the supports go, so maybe they don't care, you know, if Lulu gets banned out here, because Golden Guardians has been playing so many dive comps, and when you look at Rakan plus Wukong, you're expecting Licorice to play something aggressive in top lane. You're already looking at least 3 divers, and Renata is so effective at actually shutting that down.
Well, Cloud9 are going to lock in their trademark flex pick Ksante here as their 3rd pick of the draft. So they do not have their support. You could expect to see Golden Guardians try to pinch that a little bit. Cloud9 does not have the same sort of stipulation of wanting to have their support on an engaged champion, if at all possible. The Golden Guardians does. Zven is more than comfortable playing the Lulus, playing the Yumis, disabled for now, of course, but just as an example.
Cosplay though.
Yeah,
here at
there was a life-size
game.
There was a life-size Yumi. I felt like I was in Silent Hill, man. I was like, this is my worst nightmare come to life. But it was actually a really good cosplay. As the Olaf is banned away, Cloud9 does not want to allow Golden Guardians to have that one. Renata banned out by Golden Guardians.
That's smart.
Yeah, I think Cloud9 would actually even prefer Zven on an Enchanter and not have him on one of these frontline engaged style champions, even though his Thresh was very, very good. Really key hooks hit by him in the last game.
The Gwen ban makes me feel like they are tanking a tank top, so it kind of feels like maybe Cloud9 are tipping their hand a little bit that it could be that Ksante top. You know, generally, that is only picked as kind of an answer into those tank matchups. Renata getting banned out, I thought it would have been a great pick here. So they are actually going to ban that out instead of the Lulu. And taking out the Sylas, I wonder if it's going to be a blind Malphite or something along those lines. They actually did win against that yesterday, but Vikla was not able to find a single good Malphite ultimate with that stolen ulti, and that is something that you really have to be scared of. So maybe Golden Guardians are willing to go to a Malphite blind top or something along those lines.
Well, Cloud9 will lock in the Lulu next to the Zeri. Zeri's best friend, and she's got 2 tanks to lead the way. Ideal team fighting comp so far for C9.
The Ahri insta here for Gori, and there's the Malphite. The Sylas protection ban gives it away. All right, EMENES / Fudge. What is it going to be? I still like the LeBlanc, but let's see.
And I think you can totally just move the Ksante up towards top lane now. You know, that is a great matchup against that Malphite. Malphite can trade fine, but I do favor Ksante in that matchup. This would be a nice look here, an aggressive look for EMENES. We know does like to play champions along these lines, and it is going to be the Akali getting locked down. So it'll be his job to really try to get in that back line, try to be able to threaten people like this Ahri and the Xayah here, but could be difficult because there's quite a bit of CC, and he doesn't really have a lot of dive buddies.
I especially do love it, though, against Xayah players, because Xayah is such a defensive champion against standard dive, and Akali makes so much more time when she does go in.
Yeah, exactly. You can just get into that back line, drop into the Shroud, and they can't really walk through it. It's kind of this zone of threat that they have to respect, which even if you're not doing damage to them, if they're not doing damage to anyone else, sometimes that can really be beneficial for you.
Exactly. If that's the one threat you're really worried about, even if you're both neutralized to 0, it's fine if you've got a Zeri just unloading on everybody else.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
All right, let's do it. Cloud9 and Golden Guardians, game 2. Let's see what we get here at the start.
I am most excited to watch this jungle matchup again. I had these two junglers as the best junglers in the LCS. I think this game, River does have a lot more options. You've got the Ahri into Akali mid here for the first 6 levels. EMENES is not going to be a lot of help to Blaber in the pathing. And so Golden Guardians here, I want to see River try and make something happen.
It'll also be really interesting to see how Gori can actually link up with River and Licorice later on in the fight. You know, one of the most common pairings we see with Ahri is the Vi. Of course, they don't have that this game, but you can do similar things with the Wukong ult, with that Malphite ult. You go in with that guaranteed CC, the Ahri ults in to follow up, try to land that charm guaranteed on your priority target, and really try to zero someone out, because the initial moments of a fight are going to be so big for Golden Guardians when you're looking down the line at all these teamfight ultis.
Oh, yeah. If they can get a wombo combo, juggle these guys around a little bit. Rakan charm into a knockup, Malphite knockup, Wukong knockup, Stixxay and Gori free firing damage during that. Hey, awesome. If that doesn't work, then this Akali creating the constant annoying threat with the smoke could be a real big issue. As Berserker and Zven, okay, man, I thought that was going to be so much spicier.
Surprise!
Yeah, when they were that far up in the brush, I was wondering if they were going to go in for a W level 1 here from Huhi, who things got really spicy last game, so you can never put it past them. But it is, of course, you know, very defensive summoners over on the Cloud9 side. Heal and cleanse brought from that bottom lane. It is Huhi actually playing Ahri. That's interesting. So it is not going to be, you know, Aftershock or Guardian or anything like that. He is playing Ahri, so it's going to be more about the poke and the additional shielding he can give his allies.
Meanwhile, keeping track of those junglers, Fudge went in, he used his early trinket ward on the blue buff to know that it is going to be bottom side start for River. Probably going to be a full clear for the Wukong. You're trying to get to your level 6 on this champion. Sejuani has way more early level gank possibilities than the Wu, but EMENES is making mid spicy here, and that is pretty low. Definitely an opportunity.
Yeah, and he's spicy, but not in a good way for him. I mean, he has been taking a lot of this poke. Gori went for Ahri as well, and he's constantly weaving in these autos, constantly tagging with the spells to be getting that damage out non-stop. But it's Blaber wrapping around here, and I don't know if Gori has that info. There's no warding really down on either side, so it is going to be Blaber here to bail out his laner, potentially help him push it in. No, instead just going to walk right through, so EMENES still feeling comfortable with the amount of health he has, even being down that potion to stick around in lane.
And with just that single ward from Fudge on blue buff, you can track the position of this Wukong. So assumed position for Cloud9 of River is now finishing the full clear up towards the top side. So Fudge should be aware, should be able to back off, not present that opportunity for him. And that's why Blaber just feels confident. He crosses over mid, even though he's giving vision. Both of them are going to kind of handshake and just trade scuttle crabs.
Yeah, unfortunately for Blaber, it's a little bit difficult to get a super effective gank early on against the Ahri when your lane mate is the Akali, right? Akali doesn't offer a lot of gank assist in early levels, but as time goes forward, we know that Akali spends the first 5 levels kind of getting bullied, pushed around, but she will quickly turn into a monster once she unlocks.
You know what, Blaze? I'll do it too.
Wow, so brave.
Thanks.
Stunning.
Yeah.
Well, Golden Guardians would love to have some people shave their heads today based on a win, but they got some work to do to get there. Huhi roaming to mid, walking up behind Gori as EMENES steps out under the smoke to try to continue to contest the enemy mid laner. But not a whole lot more to do with it. Huhi's just sticking around now to help Gori get this shoved up. Gonna go ahead and use the procs there on the support item, and Gori will crash the minion wave into the turret.
And it should just be a continued power clear here for River on the Rakan, as we see Huhi trying to make it difficult for EMENES to get every single CS, trying to zone him off, but he's doing a pretty good job scrapping together these ones under the tower. Wukong, though, really focused on that level 6, so River just returns back to Krugs and might make a little stop off here towards bottom half.
Then Berserker. All right, they're backing up.
Yeah, you can see that Zven and Berserker, they knew that the rotation was going to be coming down, so they're trying to hard shove the wave. But look at Stixxay. He's pulling this wave, trying to make their decision a little bit more difficult. But is taking a lot of damage, honestly, from the minions. When it's a fat wave like that, you kind of have to respect it, because Stixxay loses about 1/3 of his HP. As a result, won't be able to continue holding that, and it's just going to go back to parity with him at a slight HP disadvantage.
Blaber coming mid. Gori without a lot of mana here. Blaber goes in, hits the W2. The stun will not connect before Gori can get back underneath the turret, so Blaber just walks it off.
Really great patience there from Gori, because the timing on the gank was good. Gori's low on mana. He's just before hitting level 6, so he doesn't have that easy out. He was trying to force that flash, but Gori just walked it back, times the charm so he can't activate the E for the stun.
And that gank was actually very detrimental for Cloud9. During that chase down, because the minion wave was pushed up, EMENES lost 3 minions during the chase on the Ahri, and they don't end up getting the summoner spell. And River knows that Blaber just left mid lane going towards top side, so he slips right into Dragon. That is a Golden Guardians victory there, avoiding on that gank, denying a couple minions and picking up Dragon #1.
And the other side of the coin for saying, yeah, Blaber had the good timing of ganking Gori when he's out of mana before he hits level 6. With Gori being out of mana, he wanted to go home anyway. It's not like you're even inconveniencing him by forcing the back, so not getting the summoner means you get 0.
Yeah.
And Golden Guardians are loving the play. They're at plus 300 gold. They've got the first Drake at 6 minutes in, and the early game's looking all right.
Look at the farm differential that's opening up, right? Because there was this pressure on EMENES. He did take some of those early trades that went bad for him. It's 2 full waves in the favor of Gori right now. We know that River is in that side brush. Back to bot lane.
Huhi with a knock-up on Zven. They force the flash into the Cloud9 support. Stixxay and Huhi continuing to flex muscles here in the 2v2. Meanwhile, another fight breaks out as River tries to get away from Blaber, who's still in hot pursuit. River's at half as Zven jumps in, and River has to disengage back over the wall. EMENES on the wrong end of the fight now, but he's forced enemies to retreat into his team. But Sven's collapsed on. First blood back over to the Ahri. It's Gori getting paid. A double kill over to Gori. There's so much money for the Golden Guardians. Now, no kills back. Triple kill Gori. 4-0 Golden Guardians.
The Golden Guardians get so scrappy with that. River with this nice escape over to the Scuttle Crab, and they don't lose a single Guardian.
That was crazy. Such presence of mind there from River. They see Zven coming in from that blue buff entrance. They know that they had just forced his flash, so they go all in on Zven here. And this is just pivotal because the initial play looks like it's going to be so good for Cloud9, but that first kill on Zven, who's low HP, you'll see on the right side of your screen there, as he enters, River's going to go right for him to get the first reset for Gori.
Yeah, and EMENES, he jumps down. Stixxay then realizes he has to retreat up to the rest of his team. Flashes over. They make the call now, seeing Zven separated from the rest of the team. Huhi goes in. He's able to flash out and just barely not die. Look at the health on the Rakan, on the Wukong as well. Another Triumph heal is able to keep them both alive. Huhi and River surviving on slivers of HP.
The world's happiest League player right there. Every time something going well there, Hui's just laughing it up, and you can see the Golden Guardians coaches. Do you think they're invested? I can't tell.
Meanwhile, the stone cold AD carry, Stixxay there, relaxed.
Absolutely huge play for the Golden Guardians back there. Look at the total gold on the left side of your screen. Lots of blue bars at the top.
And the most important bar, Flowers, is the Ahri. So much pick potential, playmaking potential in Gori's hands now. This guy has been a star for the Golden Guardians ever since he arrived. He completely turned around their LCS season and has been a big, big tool that they've been able to use to get to this position.
And as Isaac was underlining in the gold chart, over half the gold lead is just the difference in mid laner.
Yeah.
When you look at EMENES' money, it's about 2 melee minions more than Huhi's money. That's not where you want your Akali to be.
No, not at all. And now the Ahri is so accelerated into this game. You can see the item completions coming through. On the other side, he's got brown boots and a damp tome. Lost Chapter Tier 2 boots already done here for Gori. He is in a position to carry and has shown time and time again throughout the LCS that he can make good on those leads.
Berserker trying to stop the backs of the Golden Guardians here in the bottom lane, make sure that duo's tempo at least stays a little rocky. Top lane, the farm is even. Jungle, the farm is even. Bottom lane, it's pretty even. Mid is the big difference maker here in this game. But remember, last game, EMENES had a really bad start as well. Cloud9 was able to recover. Again, if I'm comparing objectives between games in the series, I want to see Golden Guardians keep that in mind and have a cleaner transition as they move forward in this game.
Yep. For sure. That has been the single biggest problem for the Golden Guardians, is transferring these leads through the mid game into objectives and win cons here. Cloud9, massive comeback. It was 9.3 thousand, the gold lead for Golden Guardians last game. It's not quite there yet, but this is only 10 minutes in, so massive, massive stuff here. And it depends on what Gori can actually do with it to really push it ahead. He gets another turret plate here, but with Dragon spawning in only 47 seconds, it's another real opportunity for the Golden Guardians to try and press Cloud9 and get some more.
And there are less threats on the Cloud9 composition this time around, but they're going to look for Gori here.
EMENES goes in, but River popping the Cyclone forces EMENES back out. Now Cloud9 want to counterattack, but Blaber's also taken to death's door. River tries to get away from Berserker, and he'll successfully do so. Low health on both sides, but everybody walks away.
And the only reason it's close is because that was 4v3 for Cloud9. Golden Guardians do lose a lot of health on River, but he's going to heal up off the Raptor camp, and the bottom wave is pushed all the way into turret by Stixxay. So that is the price that you pay as Cloud9 going for that mid lane play, bringing Berserker over. Stixxay gets to push another one in.
But to go back to the initial point, you know, Fudge in that last game was such a difference maker, right? Because Berserker was getting focused as kind of this solo threat, and then Fudge used that opportunity to go crazy in the fights. He's on the Ksante. It's not that same level of threat that he had in that previous game on the Olaf. And there's a Malphite, a Wukong, an Ahri, and a Rakan that you have to deal with here. EMENES is in the gutter again this game, is falling way far behind. It's a tank in the top lane, so it truly feels like it is up to Berserker here, and there's so many threats for him to deal with, so much point-and-click CC.
And Golden Guardians taking down that first turret in mid lane, turning it immediately into the second Drake of the game after they're dominating the objective game in match number 2. 4,000 gold ahead, 12 minutes into the game. Golden Guardians, another good start.
And while they have their issues sometimes in that mid game and transitioning those leads to victories, nothing can be said negatively, it feels like, about the early game for this team. Yesterday and today, they have been dominating early games. 2 out of 2 against Cloud9, they crushed. They had a lot of incredible early games against FlyQuest as well.
All right, we haven't heard from the big man in the top lane just yet, but I have faith after yesterday in Licorice's ultimates to be game changers. Blaber gonna head on over here for topside Scuttle Crab, presumably. Meanwhile, the reset for River is bottom side. Flash available and ult available on the Wukong. And he goes straight to his partner in crime, Gori. River, Gori have combined for so much of the Golden Guardian success through mid-game.
Right now, there are no neutral objectives to fight for on either end of the map. However, with Golden Guardian's current lead and the fact the mid lane tier 1 turret is down, they're going to look for their own objectives in the vision in the enemy jungle. They want to force C9 further back. They want to pick up more of this standing gold in plates and turrets. And with EMENES unable to safely move forward, that's what Golden Guardians will do in the bottom lane. Now, Licorice is in a bit of a tough spot. Flashes over the wall, saves the ulti.
Yeah, a little bit surprised because there's no immediate objective in that case. Yesterday, that was critical. You know, pre the dragon fight, he elected to actually save his ulti instead of his flash. But in this case, I think just ulting over the wall back to your turret would actually be better because he's not going to have the flash for the next dragon flight, whereas if he used that ulti, he would have it back up.
And even though Blaber does end up getting that topside Scuttle Crab and the flash out of Licorice, it's still a massive, massive push forward for the Golden Guardians, being able to get those last 2 turret plates and the whole turret off of the bottom side. Solo gold onto Gori. This is one rich Golden Guardian.
He's literally doubling him in gold. You almost never see that in pro play. That is ridiculous.
Well, EMENES wants to go after this Ahri that is so far ahead of him. Gori just kind of walks away. Everything except the emote to taunt him after. Gori is under no threat.
Money doesn't buy happiness, but it does buy items in League of Legends, and that is going to win you.
That makes me happy.
That makes me happy too. And it definitely makes the Golden Guardians happy. But this has been the question, I think will be a reoccurring one. If their early game continues to be so good, then really just hammering in on this mid-game transition. Topside tower is the only outer one left standing, so they make the rotation up here. Huhi comes first, clears out the vision. River will be short to follow.
And that's the name of the game for Golden Guardians. Play it clean and play it as a team. You've got Gori and Stixxay so far ahead in terms of the gold. You've got their carries where they need to be, and you have this 3-man wombo combo machine to set them up. As long as they all stay together, as long as the plan stays coherent, they're looking so good here now that turret plates have fallen, now that we're into the mid-game.
We'll see what Cloud9 can do to try to stabilize. Blaber's been caught out. Probably can walk it out with a flash, but we'll see.
Flash tried to get away, but the second cast of Cyclone forces another ulti. So Sejuani and Lulu ultis traded away for the ult of Wukong. Huhi also expending the quickness as C9 tries to regroup. They know the Golden Guardians want the Herald.
This is risky to fight though, with Blaber half health. You're missing his ult, his flash, and Zven's ult as well.
The rewards could be really big if they might steal it, but
Oh, Gori wanted to find the charm on Blaber there, but he doesn't hit anybody. Now Licorice is in the middle of everyone on Cloud9. He takes a bit of a beating, but he's all right. They're so far ahead, C9 can't hard force anything else.
yeah, I think Cloud9 right now should just be looking for some crazy, objective steal or something like that. With the objective bounties on this early in the game, that could be a giant slingshot again in game number 2. And so that's why they're poking around here a little bit, but they have to be careful about Golden Guardians. Licorice ultimate is ready on Malphite.
Okay, Golden Guardians, let's see how they fight it. Fudge goes all out, but immediately has to disengage. He barely survives as he escapes up into the backside of the red pit as Licorice is taken low. Objective bounty claimed. Blaber gets it, and Berserker's trying to fire. Golden Guardians are in a 4v3. They shut down Gori. Fudge is still ready to fight, and Berserker is free firing. He gets the zap, but it's Stixxay with a blade caller, forcing Berserker back. 2 dead on the Guardians, 2 dead on Cloud9. Objective for Blaber and C9.
That's so much value. You get 300 gold just for killing the Rift Herald, then the big 500 base objective bounty shutdown on top of it, and that's why Cloud9, even down so much, are still looking.
Yeah, and Berserker, is able to get a lot done in this fight. We see it starts off with Fudge trying to go for this flank. He has to get out of there immediately, though, and then in comes the following ulti here from Licorice. Only tags him, though. Doesn't actually get to Berserker, just barely missed out. And then Berserker has his moment here to go crazy. Gets that first kill onto Licorice as the Smite Steal comes through.
Meanwhile, the Ahri that we're talking about creating so much space had all 4 other Golden Guardians members zoned inside the Shroud.
And, this Ahri had already spent the ulti on that previous chase down onto Blaber. Didn't actually have it for this key fight, so your most fed member is missing her key playmaking tool.
The Ahri is one of those champions. It's like an Olaf, right? The difference between having an ult in a team fight and not having an ult in a team fight, the champion just feels like it's only halfway there. But we do have the 3rd Drake of the game claimed for Golden Guardians. They will remain on Soul Point for the rest of this match. 3.6 thousand gold ahead. It's much smaller than the 6K gold lead they had earlier, but it's still impressive. C9 used the Herald and claimed the top lane tier 1.
You're definitely starting to feel a little bit nervous, though, after last game when you're on Golden Guardian's side, and you know that you threw a really big lead here, and now Cloud9, they get that Herald, they get the objective bounty. Berserker even picks up the eye, drops it top, gets another objective bounty on that top lane tier 1. He now has as much gold as Stixxay because of those shutdowns. He's only 40 gold behind the guy, despite Stixxay having these extra kills, having these extra assists.
Yeah, Cloud9 are for sure objective bounty gamers. They are very happy.
They're loving that change.
Golden Guardians still trying to continue the plan from earlier. Things went awry a little bit, but it's not going to stop them from rotating through the enemy jungle. Sweep out the vision, place down your own. EMENES sees him, throws out a 5-point strike, doesn't get a whole lot. The Akali is still pretty ferociously far behind. EMENES still needs time to catch up in this game.
Very much true. Cloud9 not playing like it, though, in that last team fight. Playing it very aggressively, moving up, and now it's kind of hard because outer towers are really easy to push the game ahead, and with both neutral objectives gone, Golden Guardians, you have to try and create your own objective, which comes in the form of slow pushing a minion wave so you can build up a bigger one that your opponents have to come respond to, taking some smaller things like the jungle camps, slowly moving your ward line in to be able to set up for the next one. And until then, the rewards are just not as big on the map.
Yeah, and we'll see what Golden Guardians can get done here in these next couple of minutes, because it's going to come down to, again, another soul fight here in 3 minutes. That Cloud Soul, really nice for a lot of the members over on this other side. Any ult that already gives you move speed or mobility is just amplified so much by this. Wukong ult with the Cloud Soul, really nice. Ahri as well. Also here, for that Rakan, the engage is going to be that much more powerful. So it is going to be a tough one to give over for Cloud9. And it's just going to make Berserker's job of staying safe that much more difficult in the team fights.
Licorice throws the seismic shard at Fudge, but a Malphite and a Rakan are not going to have damage enough to kill that Ksante, even if he is pushed far away from the turret. Golden Guardians continue sitting down this vision, sweeping away that of Cloud9. Take every small objective that you can, every jungle camp, every ward, everything on the map that Cloud9 would want to rely on, take it away, use this lead.
And that's why Cloud9 is trying to walk back in as this 3-4-man squad to reclaim vision. They know that they have got to be able to control this area on the map here to be able to then move forward and get wards around that dragon, that this game could very well be decided at.
Also a big benefit of when there are objective bounties up, you can look for very, very risky, high-value plays. Gori and the rest of Golden Guardians, though, trying to make it dark and a little dicey around Baron. They make you think twice. That's the advantage of being the team with 3 and your opponents having none. Super high-value dragon for you, not so much for your opponents, and they really have a tough decision on keeping track of both of these objectives and not getting too split.
EMENES finds Gori. The Akali looking for some damage. Perfect execution. Is it perfect enough?
Yeah.
Gori tries to get away. Blaber's ready to answer him. Throws the ulti over the wall. Doesn't find Gori. EMENES!
Oh!
He's so far behind and he still gets it done. Now River wants to mop him up. He might be able to find him here with a Cyclone. Yep, Cloud9 leave him for dead. It's 1 for 1. But EMENES just took out the mid laner that was 3,000 gold ahead of him.
EMENES may not have the goal, but he sure as hell got the skill to do it.
Yeah, he's underpaid, but he's going to overwork for this one. 1 for 1 is the vision cleared out in the end by Golden Guardians, but he just plays with no fear, no matter the state of the game.
1 minute until what would be the soul for Golden Guardians spawns. Cloud9 has to defend, and if Blaber can steal it away, that's exactly what they want.
And I want to call your minds back to a similar play that EMENES made in the previous game. He went on Orianna 1v1 versus Licorice while down. He got Licorice's flash preemptively before the next team fight. He does the same thing here versus Gori. He gets the kill, he sidesteps the charm, beautiful stuff from him. He's also going to end up getting the flash here as Blaber comes over to corner him. And then yes, you are going to trade 1 for 1. But he gets +1, huge cooldown summoner spell there as well. So he's underfunded, but overperforming yet again.
Okay, C9's going for the Baron. They might just toss away this Drake, say, you know what, it's Cloud Soul. We're not that afraid of you guys with it. I mean, they kind of have Rakan and Wukong, so you definitely have to be afraid of them with it. Yeah. But nope, it just ends up being a fluke. Now they're going to rotate down and try to contest for the Drake. EMENES, Stixxay and Huhi 2v1ing him as River, Licorice are on the other side. Gori now teleporting in. Cloud9 regrouping his 5. Golden Guardians with control over the Drake pit.
EMENES lost his ulti in that exchange, and that means they can't actually fight for it, so it's just going to be a free soul given over. They're going to try to go across the map and start up this Baron here, potentially.
But Cloud's Dragon goes down so fast, and it gives them the move speed now. The Golden Guardians can easily get over there.
The one silver lining here for Cloud9 is the fact that now the Elder will be on the table in 6 minutes, and that becomes one of those things where it's not a huge thing if they get it, and a small thing if you get it. It could be the equalizer, but Golden Guardians love the synergy of Cloud Drake with Wukong and with Rakan, and now, emboldened by this buff, they're going to go for the Baron.
They really want to take advantage while EMENES has no ultimate still on the Akali.
C9. All right, there's your Scryer's plant. Gonna find the Baron at 4K. Golden Guardians do not want to flip this.
Yeah, I actually really like this call because all 5 of Cloud9 were approaching from the top side, which means Golden Guardians just go straight mid, and they're gonna get an open access here to this tier 2 tower mid, and potentially even more. Cloud9 can't even look to try to match and trade objective bounties, or they'd be losing their inhibitor tower. So it's a really good movement on the map here from Golden Guardians.
Golden Guardians getting all that tier 2 money on Stixxay specifically. 2-0 and 3 here on the Xayah. 5 out of 7 kill participation. Black Cleaver also just now completing for River's Wukong, giving him 2 fully completed items. Golden Guardians are once again in a very commanding spot 24 minutes into the game.
All right, let's see how those commands go, because this has been a reoccurring theme for this team. Another chance set up for them. River here on the Wukong has been pivotal. He's got flash again. So much to worry about here in the next team fight. But right now, they go with the 4-1. Malphite split pushing bottom side. Licorice does have his ultimate as well as his flash. EMENES is kind of fishing around as well, though.
I feel like if you're Golden Guardians, what you really want here is to make sure that you have more completed items than C9 when this Elder Dragon spawns. Make that fight miserable for them to take. Continue to maintain this lead in a way where it manifests itself meaningfully with the itemization for that massive fight. Because if you lose Elder, bye-bye lead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Elder can turn around a game on a dime here. It's Golden Guardians, though, trying to maintain vision around this Baron here. Gori, they would love to force out his ulti, but they're going to TP in instead. Here comes the Malphite.
Golden Guardians are ready to just fight it. They don't want to allow Cloud9 to get away with this. Fudge, all out, trying to make distance. He gets away somehow, and EMENES teleports in, only to immediately have to use the Hourglass. He's killed instantly, and Gori gets his revenge. Blaber tries to run, but Licorice is an unstoppable force, and Fudge is a movable object. Golden Guardians move him into the grave, and they move themselves over to Baron.
Yep, that's going to be Baron. They make the command you are looking for, Flowers, and the command is topside. 3 kills for the Golden Guardians. Baron secured.
It's a great TP coming in from Licorice. Golden Guardians just find their angle to take a fight. And as EMENES TPs in to try and reinforce, he's split up from the rest of his team. It's an easy kill there. And then I love that Licorice is holding on to this ulti the whole time, waits until Blaber spends his flash, has the ulti to follow, killing that jungler, guarantees the Baron for him.
You can see the comms kind of in action. Golden Guardians, there was no hesitation. They lead with the teleport. So Licorice is there, all 5 members, but Cloud9, they were trying to just evade and escape and hold EMENES' teleport. He was just sitting mid. Then when they finally make the call for him to actually join in, Fudge has already kind of escaped. He's surrounded at his teleport location, and Golden Guardians rip them apart.
Cloud9 is now in defense mode. River and Stixxay chase after Zven, who shows them the Pepega Frog emote, pops his heel, and heads for the hills because Cloud9 is not safe anywhere on Summoner's Rift right now. Golden Guardians got the Baron. They got a 4-man push here in bottom lane, and they take out the tier 2 turret. They go up to a 10,000 gold lead.
Yeah, their job with this Baron buff is basically just to farm as much gold as possible to be ready for that Elder fight. It is going to be a TP flank, though. Cloud9 maybe betting their game on it.
Cloud9, nope. All right, they said all in, but then they immediately took it back. And
TP,
now
though.
we got a TP coming out for Golden Guardians. EMENES has been found. He has to try to flash away. Gori with a beautiful charm, but EMENES still survives. He has to go back to the fountain, and Golden Guardians knows it's their chance to keep this pressure going. Bottom lane tier 3 turret just goes pop, and now the inhibitor itself is exposed. Golden Guardians will take that one out, no problem. And the next wave is ready to push into mid. River jumps over the wall, and Cloud9 still don't have their mid laner back in the action. Fudge takes a little bit of damage as Blaber has to retreat, and Licorice just finds him again. Now they engage on Berserker. Licorice continuing to frontline and apply the pressure on the enemy AD carry, while the rest of the team can take out the Nexus turret. Those are still standing, but the team is falling. Berserker kills Huhi, but Cloud9 is being blended. Stixxay gets the kill back onto EMENES as Gori and Stixxay are still alive with low HP. It's Fudge and Zven versus the Guardians, and C9 may have just run out of time. Licorice is still there to frontline. The carries are there for the damage. The Nexus turrets will disappear. Golden Guardians, they got it done this time. The lead, the win, the tied series. Golden Guardians take the game.
And how is that for an emphatic comeback in game number 2? Golden Guardians crush the early game, but more importantly, crush the mid game and close it out in 28.5 minutes here. This was dominance. That is something that Golden Guardians can build upon, can have massive amounts of confidence from. They know that Cloud9 can bleed, and they were the ones to make him do it.
They sure are. Objective bounties won't save you here. Game number 2, Golden Guardians do finish it with very decisive calls here. Going for the picks on top side, instant Baron, pushing through for the victory. Yeah, EMENES escaped with his life from the attempted flank, but he was basically useless with no ultimate and no flash then on the Akali, and the Golden Guardians knew it. Licorice Malphite ultimate in, they push it to victory.
And that's why Stixxay was so confident in that final fight. He's just taking a 1v1 with the Akali. He's running straight at him.
Why
He says,
not?
I'm going to call your bluff. You've got no ulti. You don't win this. He's
He
flashing
flashed
over
on
the wall.
him for the blade caller.
He flashed over the wall onto him for the blade caller, which was, Zonia's by EMENES, but still loses that 1v1. And that's the confidence, that's a killer instinct that you need to have when you're in a commanding position, because this was a beautiful closeout to the game. No 50-50 at Baron, no flipping, no mistakes really made in those final minutes.
And that means even more in the context of what happened in game number 1.
Yeah.
Sometimes we see players and teams get rattled from having lost a game with that level of a lead. The Golden Guardians seemingly just, whatever, shrug it off, go next, play the next one even better. Golden Guardians tie up this series, and now we're going to head